In this video, I'm going to show you how to install a basic set of plugins and also guide you through some of the plugins that I prefer and use in most of my installations. So there's literally thousands, probably tens of thousands of different plugins, so you'll certainly have to do some exploring on your own. But these are the basics, the ones that I use over and over again and I've been very pleased with. So it'll give you at least a place to start. So here I am inside my WordPress again. I'm going to go down to plugins and we're going to open that little area and I'm going to add new. And you can see WordPress has again made it very simple to use these plugins. I'm literally going to search for all the plugins that I want to use, and then we're going to show you how easy it is to install each and every one of these. And I'll tell you a little bit about each as I go through. So contact form 7, every good website needs a contact form, a way for your audience to engage with you. And contact form 7 for me has been sort of the easiest to use right out of the box without a lot of configuration or figuring out. So we're going to go ahead and once we've found it, we're going to go ahead and install it. By clicking that little install button, and you're going to see it goes ahead and usually what I do is I install all of these and then I'll go back and do some of the minimum configuration that's required in most of these. So I'm going to go ahead and activate it, and now I'm back to the plugins again. So I'm going to add another one. Another one that I like to use is Facebook is so important online, especially for internet marketing these days, for both traffic and also engagement. So you need that like button for sure on your website. This is the one I like to use. There's a whole bunch of them. They all sort of work the same way, but this is the one I've grown comfortable with and works well for the way I like to set up these sorts of Facebook like buttons. The other one, this next one is really only if you're going to use the Genesis framework, which I do in most of my implementations. It's Genesis Simple Hooks, and what that does is it sort of exposes a lot of different places on the page that allow me to edit content, sort of basic content, a lot easier, like the footer and the header and stuff like that. So I always use this. Again, it just makes it simpler for me to put in the types of things that I want without having to get into the editor and actually editing HTML and CSS and all those sorts of things. So if you're not using the Genesis framework, you can skip that one. This is a critical one, especially if you want any sort of you're doing any sort of search engine optimization or just want to make sure that your site gets found, and that's this Google XML sitemaps. So sitemaps are essentially just like it sounds like, it's a roadmap for Google to follow to understand all the different pages on your site and get them indexed quickly and easily. So anything you can do to make it easier for Google to read your site and to index it is always a good thing. So in this particular case, once I install this, it's literally going to just frequently look at my website and rebuild this XML sitemap or this map for Google to follow, and then tell Google about it. So that's sort of the second piece of that. So that's a really important plugin for all your search engine type goals. This is another one, handy little plugin. It's re.place, like replace. And what this does is you can actually give it a keyword, and then like if you have a particular page about one of your keywords and you always want to link to that page every time you use that keyword to give your readers more, you can use this for like a glossary, or you can use it to just consistently give them more information about a particular topic that you talk about a lot. Or if you made a mistake throughout your site, you can easily fix that with this by just globally, it's sort of a find and replace sort of tool. But I found that very handy in a lot of different ways. Just helps me globally throughout the site replace a certain word or set of words. The next one, and you probably won't use this very much, but as your site gets older and more mature, it comes in really handy. This is a redirection tool, and it helps you set up 301 redirects. And what a 301 redirect is basically a little piece of code that tells Google, hey, this is a page that you had in your index before, and I've moved it for whatever reason. A lot of times that'll happen as your site gets a little bit older. You'll need to move pages around or maybe rename them to make them more useful. And so this is a nice little tool that you can just go in there and literally say, hey, this is the old URL and this is the newer URL, newer and updated. And so that can be really important because you never want to lose a URL that's in Google, or maybe somebody out on the internet has linked to. Nothing more frustrating than somebody you going out there and you're linking to a really great resource and then all of a sudden it disappears the next day. And then your audience is frustrated because they followed that link and they got nothing, or they got an error. So that redirection is really important. Once you put a page out on the internet, it's just being a good citizen to make sure that if you do change it or update it, that you tell Google where it's gone, or you tell your readers where it's gone, and the people that link to you. Share This is another little handy tool. It gives me all the little bookmarking features. So if somebody wants to email it to a friend, or they want to bookmark it on Delicious, this really gives me all of the different bookmarking options. So I don't have to keep constantly adding little pieces of code. This just keeps up to date with whatever the latest trend in social bookmarking is. It has a nice little easy feature for my audience to be able to click on that and bookmark it, which is important as well for search engine optimization, because all these little bookmarks are helping to get the word out to you and show Google that your page and your content is really important. This is another one I like to install. Again, it's called SEO Slugs, I believe, but it's really more than just SEO. It just makes my URLs nice and easily readable by my audience, which is so important. I like to make everything just really super easy for people that are reading my blog, and this really simplifies. I may have to. This one's a little bit harder. It's an older plugin. There's some other ones that do similar things. I kind of like the simplicity of this one though, so I always keep installing this. Maybe I should update it because sometimes these are getting a little older. Actually not even finding it right now, so maybe I definitely need to sort of get an updated version of this. So not even on the and again, there's a whole bunch of ones that do a similar thing. Let me just and this is something that you'll experience where you'll get a favorite plugin and maybe it goes away, or maybe you have to select a different one. Let me see if I can grab one that sort of does the same thing. That one's a little more complex. All right, so this one, well, maybe I have to go back to. I can't really find one that I'm happy with, but really the idea here in this particular one, why I like this, is it just takes out all those what they call stop words like a and the and those things that are just sort of nonsensical in the URL that aren't necessary. It makes it just a nice, clean URL. So we'll have to look for that one again later. But something like that I think is important because it just makes your URLs less messy. This one, everybody likes to look at their stats, and that's important to do. So this is my preferred one for looking in your WordPress console at your different stats. It's also done by Automatic, which is the people who make WordPress, so it's nice and consistent with WordPress as far as tracking those stats. So go ahead and put that in there. I only have two more here. Again, I don't really go necessarily plug-in crazy, but you could. There's just so many useful plugins. This is another one that I like to use, and maybe later in a future video you'll sort of see how I use this, but WordPress Popular Post. And I like to do this because as you get more and more content on there, some of your old content sort of gets buried. But if it's popular and people are going to it on Google, if somebody's visiting my homepage for the first time, I like to highlight these, and what it'll do is it'll literally look like at how many people are coming to your pages, and the ones that get the most traffic or the most comments, it'll actually create a nice little widget in the sidebar to show new viewers who are just coming to your homepage what historically has been sort of the most popular articles. And so that not only helps new readers get familiar with some of the value that you've added out there, but it also will give some of that old content the exposure that it's due because it is so popular and it's been so useful to people in the past. And this is the last one. We are definitely in the age of smartphones, so you need to have something that enables your website to be seen easily on a mobile phone, and WP Touch is just outstanding. With just a couple clicks and configurations, it will make your website beautiful on a mobile phone. So definitely put that one in. Now I've activated all those, and you can see having activated them, there's a variety of different places that these things show up. Usually in plugins, you can see there's WordPress stats. They may be under tools. There's the redirection one. A lot of them fall underneath settings. There's the Facebook button, replace, share this, WordPress touch, popular. So all those sorts of things. And we can get into more on how to use them, but that's how you install them. And then you can go through this systematically like I did before and go ahead and configure just a couple of little tweaks. Most of them sort of work out of the box. And we'll go back in here. And again, we're still working on the back end, so there's really not much change to the front end here at all. We'll get into that into our next video and really making this thing look like a website. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video and you're on YouTube, hit the like button. If you're on the website, please leave a comment and tell us how much you enjoyed it. And if you're actually using it or working on a project, certainly give us a link so we can take a look at that and you can show the community all the things that you've learned. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.